Good afternoon. It's Monday, March the 11th. It is 3:12. It was a minimum day today. We got out at 1, so I have been in a staff meeting since about 1:15 to now. So hi. And I don't have a whole lot of time to talk because I do have a therapy appointment that I need to leave for soon, but I definitely wanted to check in, just kind of let you know how the day went and how my weekend went. My weekend was okay. Saturday, I did the usual stuff. I ran some errands, I exercised, and then by the end of the day Saturday, I could feel like my hormones like shifting, and I'm very thankful to have a doctor's appointment on Wednesday to get that under control, because even when I woke up this morning, like I had book club on Sunday, yesterday, and I was fine at book club, and then when I got home, when I tell you I can feel my mood change, like it just changed, and I just was kind of in a slump. Woke up in a slump, worked out through the slump. I'm pretty sure that I was on the verge of tears at the end of my Peloton class, not because the class was so hard, but just because like my emotions are out of whack, and then I started my period. And TMI for some of you, but that's what it's all tied to. So my doctor's appointment for that is this Wednesday. And then I came to school and had a day. It's pretty smooth. Minimum days, as I've said, are always rough. So well, I won't talk about leadership. Like right now in well, you know what, I will. I just got some emails from some of the 5th grade teachers from one of the feeder schools. One of the teachers said she passed out the flyer to her kids, and the kids seem really excited about it, so I'm glad about that. There's teachers on campus that seem excited about it. So, and when I say it, I'm talking about the color run if I didn't say that. So in leadership, we're just at the point where now we need to really promote, encourage. I had some kids today go out and do the mile track that we're going to be using, because now I need to figure out, I kind of want Color Blast to be at like the quarter mile, half mile, 3/4 mile and finish line, and call them like Color Blast stations. So I'm looking at some of those Color Blast rockets to see if we can get those, make sure we have the funds to do that, and just kind of trying to think of everything that I need to do between now and the color run. So that is that. And Pie the Principal is a fundraiser that we did just for last week, and it sounds like just what it is. The principal that gets the most cherries purchased for their pie wins. Right now we think it's our male AP. The female AP is relieved because she has lashes and hair and makeup and all that. So I told her, if you win, we'll pre-record the pie in the face. It'll be Leadership Kids. We'll give you goggles and all of that. But if it's the guy, we'll do it live because he's open to that. So that ended, and I want to count how much money we made. I don't know the total count. It's not a lot, which is fine because we spent no money to put on the fundraiser. Like, no money was spent. So everything that we made is going in our pocket. So that was my leadership class. My core classes, language arts, we're starting this week. We're going to be focusing on a poem called Mother to Son by Langston Hughes. And last year, before I had them read the poem, I needed them to know who Langston Hughes was, what the Harlem Renaissance was, what it was all about, what Langston Hughes wrote about, why he wrote about it. So I found this video on YouTube from Crash Course, and it's the series that specifically looks at Black history in the United States. And so this one was called Arts Letters of the Harlem Renaissance. It's about 12 minutes. And then I used this strategy called keyword notes, where you basically break up a video or a piece of reading into segments. I broke mine up into 4, and I would show them this video in those 4 segments. And the segments aren't equal in length. It's just where I need the segment to end. So the first couple of minutes was segment 1, and they needed to listen for the answer to this question: how did so many Black people end up in Harlem? So they listened to the first couple minutes and jotted notes in that little square. Then we discussed. I made sure they understood about the Black migration, how Black people moved from the South to the North, why they did, what the Harlem Renaissance was all about. The second segment, they were asked what were the 3 categories of the Harlem Renaissance. So there they had to listen to make sure they understood it was literary, musical, and visual arts. third segment was they just needed to gather some basic information about Langston Hughes and what kind of things did he write about. So just some background knowledge about his life, but primarily making sure they understood that his poems were about the Black experience, the real Black experience, based on his life and just, you know, what Black people were going through during the time. My Switch class, we had a really big conversation about that, because even though I've taught it, it's like they had to be reminded of, like, first of all, why were there so many Black people in the South and not in the North? So we had to refresh their memory, like cash crops were in the South, enslaved people were harvesting those cash crops, enslaved people were emancipated, then they were emancipated living in the South where things and conditions were not pleasant for them, so they started migrating to the North. I use my family as an example. Like, my family is originally from the South. When I go back to my grandparents and great-grandparents, then they migrated to Detroit, then they migrated from Detroit to LA based on work opportunities. And then the fourth segment was they just had to listen for other well-known names from the Harlem Renaissance and list those. And then at the end of the 4 segments, then they turn the paper over and they summarize the video. So it incorporates listening skills, note-taking, summarizing, and so I really liked it. And we had done this one time before, when I showed them a video on what Native American reservations were, because I wanted them to know what those were before we read The Firekeeper's Daughter. So the first time we did this strategy, like the kids are panicking, like, oh my God, he's talking too fast, blah, blah, blah. So you have to remind them, like, I don't want you to write full sentences. You're not trying to write every single word this person says. Your focus is really on getting the information for the question that I provided you, and everything else you hear is additional information, but your focus is to answer each question per segment. So I really like doing that. Tomorrow, I think my plan is, let me double check. We're gonna read the poem Mother to Son. We're gonna listen to it, but I'm pretty sure that prior to that, I'm gonna show them a TED Talk or a video that explains what AAVE is. So if you don't know, AAVE stands for African American Vernacular English, because this poem uses that. Last year I didn't show this video, but I did have to have a conversation about the way it's written and why it's written that way, because it is written using AAVE. So that's all we got to. I read a very brief section in history on George Washington. We talked a little bit with Homeroom about the initial development of the 2 political parties, the Democratic Republican Party, or just the Republican Party and Federalist. But it was a very quick run through, and we associated Thomas Jefferson and Alexander Hamilton with those 2 parties. Alexander Hamilton was very much in line with the Federalist, and Thomas Jefferson was very much in line with the Democratic Republicans. We didn't get to that in Switch because we had so much conversation going on with this Langston Hughes video. So I don't mind that, because it was good conversation. It was good for the purpose that I used the video for, which was to understand the poem Tomorrow by Langston Hughes, but also good in the sense that it reviews some history that we learned, and it helped contextualize some things that the kids weren't making the connection on. So I really appreciated that. So now I'm in my room, getting ready to pack up, I think, because I need to stop at Target first and then get to my oh, I forgot to pass these out. Get to my therapy appointments at 4. But I definitely just wanted to say hello. I will probably just, again, stacks of paper, check in with you guys for sure tomorrow, or when I get home. Probably really just to close it out. Oh! You know what else happened this weekend? I made it to 20,000 subscribers. So thank you all who helped with that goal. Now I feel like I should just keep pushing and be like, let's get to 25. But I am extremely thankful to everyone that has subscribed, everyone that's been watching my videos over the years, because it has been years since I've been doing these. Everyone that left a comment, I've seen them, I just haven't had a chance to respond to them yet. I'm missing some papers. Oh, so yeah, I'm really excited. It's just like a nice little milestone to hit, and it was a nice weekend treat. It was a nice early birthday present treat, so thank you. But I need to stop talking. I need to get myself together, and I need to go, and I need to think about what I want to do when I go home. I really feel like I want to enter grades, and I just took that stuff out of my bag, and I don't know why. So yeah, I'm gonna go home, and I'll talk to you guys when I get there.
I know it's not. You know what? It's okay. Well, it's Tuesday and it's sprinkling on the car that I just got washed on Saturday, after once again I checked the weather report and there was not any indication of precipitation in the forecast. But here we are in sprinkles. And you know what? I'm gonna let it go. I'm gonna relax. That's not what I turned the camera on to say, because I wasn't prepared for that. I really turned the camera on to say good morning. So sorry that I didn't end the vlog yesterday and upload. I left work to go to therapy, and that went fine. Latanya still has a lot of work that she needs to do on herself. And then when I got home, I just was in a lot of pain, like just really, really bad cramps, and just feeling, I guess, lethargic would be the word. Even when I worked out yesterday morning, in addition to almost crying myself off the Peloton bike because my emotions were out of whack, I just didn't even have like the physical energy to push the way that I normally would. Like, I got the class done, but I didn't have like the physical capacity to do a spin class like I normally would. Like, it was a struggle to do the 60 minutes that I was miraculously able to do. And so by the time I got home, it was just that same feeling of like my body felt like a ton of bricks, and I had really bad cramps, and just moving was uncomfortable. And yesterday I thought and wondered and was a little concerned, like, I really hope that my fibroids aren't back, or at least to the same degree. Because although I had, Taylor is texting me and I don't know what she's saying. Although I had the surgery and I had fibroids before, a lot of the symptoms that are associated with fibroids I wasn't really experiencing. I wasn't experiencing painful periods, difficult periods. I just felt the physical sensation of having fibroids. Like, I just felt bloated and I could feel them. Like, if you pressed on my abdominal area in a certain place, I could feel them. But the pain I was experiencing yesterday was so great that I was like, maybe this is what people experience when they have fibroids, because fibroids can come back. So I'm just really happy that I have my doctor's appointment tomorrow, because one way or the other, we got to get some things in check. Like, my hormones definitely need to be under control. The discomfort that I'm experiencing that I haven't really experienced before, I need that to go away, because I've never been on my period and feel like I just want to curl up in a ball and lay down because I'm in pain. And that's how I felt last night. So I couldn't finish the vlog. I couldn't edit. I barely got the things done that I needed to do to make sure I was ready for today. So this morning I opted not to work out. So I'm really proud of myself for just kind of allowing myself to recognize that your body is feeling a little run down right now. You struggled with a spin class in between doing the Peloton bike and the tread. To me, the bike is the easier one to do. It's just less challenging physically for me. So if you were struggling just to get through your 60 minutes on the bike yesterday, you getting through 60 minutes on a treadmill, half of which you're running, is probably going to be a nightmare. You're in pain. So just skip the day. It's going to be okay. You will probably still work out at minimum 4 times this week. And I have to literally talk myself through things like that. A lot of people, I'm sure, are like, well, just skip the workout. It's not that big of a deal. Like, for me to skip a workout, I have to really justify it to myself. And that's something that I feel like I need to work on. Like, it's a big thing. I'm like, I'm letting myself down. I'm not a good person anymore, because I'll make these rules for myself and I don't give myself a lot of like gray area or wiggle room or grace or whatever you want to call it. So I didn't work out this morning. I didn't even wake up as early as I had intended. So when I went to bed last night and decided you're allowed to skip your workout tomorrow, then the rule was you're going to skip your workout, but you're still going to wake up a little bit earlier and get to work earlier, because that's how I am. So then the alarm went off to wake up earlier, and I said, nope, you are still in pain. So stay in the bed. So I did. I got out of bed at 6 and got dressed, and now I decided that I deserve Starbucks, so I'm going to get that because I'm on some sort of challenge where I can get 75 extra stars if I order certain things. So that's what I'm going to do, and then I'm going to go into my classroom and get ready for the day. I have a union meeting after school today. I don't know how long that's going to take. Hopefully not too long, because my goddaughter has a school performance at 5. So hopefully I can do both. And I think I mentioned what's on the agenda for class today. I need to look at that AAVE video to see if I want to show the whole thing. The only apprehension I have is like, it's a high school student. I think this girl's a 9th grader, and she's doing a TED talk, like a literal TED talk on AAVE, and she just doesn't have like charisma when she speaks. Like, you know, she's young and she has it all scripted out, but like she doesn't have like the comedic timing for the little jokes that she makes and all of that. So it is a little like awkward, but the information she's giving is good information. So that's the only reason why I'm apprehensive. And I might preface the kids with like, okay, this is a 9th grade girl. What she's presenting is actually impressive. She's clearly nervous, so let's give her some grace. But yeah, I'm gonna decide if I want to show the whole thing. I have time because the poem is pretty short, but I just don't know. And we kind of are behind on some things from yesterday. But anyway, let me step out into the sprinkle that's sprinkling on Blanca, my car, and get my drink, and I'll be right back. Check my text messages while I was in Starbucks, and I think you guys are crooked here. I checked my messages while I was in Starbucks, and Taylor popped a tire on the freeway, so she's going to be late. So we got to figure out who's going to watch her class. She's safe though. And my Starbucks. It's I'm gonna say a 7.5. Like it's good. It just feels like a little weak. But yeah, let me go ahead and get to school and get out of the sprinkles, and I will be sure to check in with you guys later.
Alrighty, it's 2:37. Taylor is back at school, safe and sound. Sounds like she was very close to the freeway exit to get here when her tire blew out. So she's here, she's back. And that's good news. As far as my day went, I think this morning I was debating on whether or not I was going to show this TED Talk video of a high school 9th grader giving like some historical information about the use of AAVE. And if you don't know what AAVE stands for, it is African American Vernacular English. And I wasn't sure if I was going to show it because, like, I don't know, the presentation's not awkward. It's just like she doesn't have a whole lot of like charisma because she's probably nervous giving this TED Talk in the 9th grade, which is something I couldn't have done. But I decided to show it anyway, and I'm glad I did. So let me find my study sync book. So the poem that we're reading by Langston Hughes is called Mother to Son, and it's a very short poem, which was one of the reasons why I decided to show the video, because I mean, I don't even think the dialogue lasts for a minute. And in the poem, and this was after, like this was also after we watched the video yesterday on the Harlem Renaissance. So if you teach this poem, I do think it's very helpful to give them some background information on what the Harlem Renaissance was, about Black migration, about Langston Hughes, what he chose to write about, because that helps them to really access this poem very quickly. Like, it worked really well last year, so I definitely knew that I was going to replicate what I did this year. So you can see the poem is really short, and in the poem the mom is using words like I's, which stands for I am or I've been, says words like climbing instead of climbing, uses double negatives. And so I wanted them to understand why this mom would be speaking this way, and give them historical implications on why that occurred, so that they knew she wasn't just speaking this way to be grammatically incorrect, or so that they knew what she was trying to say if it wasn't already clear to them. And I just thought it was a good conversation, because then we got to talking about like the use of AAVE in rap music, and why non-Black people actually are using it a lot now, because rap music is so popular. I didn't go down the path of like Black culture is so popular that it becomes like mainstreamed. I did talk about like the concept of cultural appropriation, and gave a couple of examples of like some TikToks I've seen where people that are not Black have come under fire because they are speaking in a way that would be classified as using AAVE. And I feel like the kids were engaged. What I did this year that I didn't do last year, because I didn't show this video, is I show them the video, we talk about the video, clarify, make sure they understand, and then I have them just skim the poem to see if they can find examples of what would be considered AAVE, and they were able to do that. Kids that rarely raise their hand to share. Some of them were able to identify some of the double negative statements, and so I thought that was good. Then we listened to the poem for the first time today, and I said, all I want you to do today is listen to the poem, make sure we understand. They were able to identify that the title of the poem is Mother to Son, so this is a mother speaking to her son. And I said, and it's written by Langston Hughes, who we know wrote about the Black experience. We have to now know that this mother is Black, and she is speaking to her Black son. And then listen to the poem and tell me, what is it that this mother is trying to tell her son? Like, what is the message that he's or she's trying to convey? And what type of figurative language does Langston Hughes use to convey meaning in this poem? So they were able to immediately understand that the mom is pretty much saying, when things are difficult, you got to keep going, okay? If you haven't read the poem, she's technically talking about climbing stairs. So I was like, what metaphor is being used? And unfortunately, there was some struggle there. My switch class, a lot of people were convinced that it was an idiom. And in my homeroom class, it was kind of like a mix. Some of them couldn't even remember all the different options of figurative language, which is a little curious, because they have to write a story that includes figurative language, and we've studied it, different types, quite a bit. So we eventually got to the place where I said he's using a metaphor. So two things are being compared: a staircase, climbing stairs, and that's being compared to just the journey of life or going through life. So that's all that we did with that. And then history, we just read another section in TCI, and the section was strictly focused on Alexander Hamilton and his views on different aspects of government and the economy, and you know, how countries should be ran. And then we answered some questions, and that was it. I am very glad that I allowed my body to rest a little bit more this morning by not feeling like I had to get in early, because when I got here, I forgot that we were on testing schedule, because they are taking their last round of iReady, and on testing schedule, the first 2 hours of class is just them testing. So it's a lot of downtime. It's them working independently on iReady. So I was able to get a lot of things done while they were testing, and we still get our prep. So I got just as much done as I wanted to, and then some. So that's how the day has gone so far. I have a union meeting at 3:15, so I have about 30 minutes to continue to work on what I need to do, but that's pretty much the rundown. It's no longer sprinkling outside, but it's pretty cold, and the sun has yet to come out, which makes me sad. So I'm gonna get back to working and being productive, and I don't know, I'll talk to you probably after my union meeting. It's just before 6, and I am just now at a place where I'm getting ready to go home, which means I more than likely won't be able to make it to my goddaughter's performance. And her performance, did I say this? She's gonna be a little DJ. So hopefully her mom, my cousin, will take video, because I'm not gonna make it. The school is about 30 minutes away, and I still need to wrap up a couple things before I actually leave the premises here. The meeting, let me make sure I have the right page number. Okay. The union meeting ended. It went pretty well. It was just going over our last contract negotiation. I don't think I actually ever said that since November, the union board of our district was going through contract negotiations with the board members of the district. If you've been following me for a while, you know that that's something I've been a part of every round for the past, I don't know, maybe close to 7 years. And this year I just didn't do it, and thankfully so, because as you guys have seen, I have been quite burnt out, and that probably would have sent me over the edge, because you do end up being out of class a lot. It's a lot of mental work to be at the table, and a lot of prep work for having subs constantly as you're negotiating. And this was the first time they did it in person in a while. So it's just like, it's mentally taxing, emotionally taxing, because it can be tense. So they finalized negotiations. We, as members of the teaching union for this district, voted on the new proposed contract last week. I want to say that it was about, oh God, I'm gonna be the last person here. 86-ish% of the teachers that voted approved it, and then some chose not to. Some people didn't want to approve it because they wanted a higher pay raise. I think we got a, was it 5 1/4? It was either 5% or 5 1/4 or something like that, a percent pay raise, which means that we'll be getting a retroactive check, because we negotiate not for the upcoming year but the current year that we're in. So I'll get a retroactive check that dates back to the beginning of the school year. So we were having a union meeting, kind of going over that, and some people were expressing their frustration because they wanted a higher pay raise, a higher percentage, or other things. And every time we have those kinds of conversations as a union, as someone who's been at the table, it's just a little frustrating, because I think some people have a lot of opinions on what should have happened at the table, or a lot of questions, but they don't have a lot of true information on the process, what it's like, how decisions are made, where numbers come from, and they don't really have a realistic view of our district and how strong the teaching body is in terms of whether or not the collective group of teachers at this district are willing to really do some things to get the things that they want. And this is a very conservative district. I can't even imagine teachers as a collective in this district going on strike. Not that that's where we need it to be, but that's the level of awareness that some teachers don't have. Like, just because you want a 25% pay increase and it looks like the district has millions of dollars sitting in funds doesn't mean that they're going to give it to you. And I think some teachers don't understand that everything that you ask for has a dollar value. So you're trading dollar values on like hiring more teachers for the district versus reducing the percentage of pay increase that you get. So I got a little tense. I said my piece in the meeting and I basically said what I just said. And that just took a while to get through. And then I had to make sub plans for tomorrow. And here we are. So I'm about to leave. I don't think I'm gonna make it in time. And Wolfie's been home. And I'm probably just gonna close the vlog here because I know already that when I go home, I just wanna be quiet. Whether it's me getting home or me being able to make it in time, I'm gonna text my cousin. I just want to be home. So anywho, if you enjoyed today's vlog, please give it a thumbs up. If you're not subscribed, make sure you subscribe. If you'd like to leave a comment, make sure you do. And just because I've hit 20,000 subscribers doesn't mean I wouldn't like more friends, so let's keep encouraging that. And as always, I hope that you guys are well, and if you're not well, please be well, and I will see you guys in the next vlog.